most of the time when I had intense anxiety symptoms, I used to ask myself, like, is it really anxiety or it's something else? Most of the time I thought that I had bipolar. This is because when I was in uni, I've told you Google is a recipe for disaster. Don't Google, guys, don't Google. So I Googled, and I was in the library at that time, and I Googled my symptoms, and it told me that I had bipolar. So I started crying because when I read, people who are struggling with bipolar, when I read reviews about bipolar, and I was just like, so I will have to struggle with this thing for the rest of my life. I will have to take meds for the rest of my life. Guys. It was so crazy. That's why I always tell you, and I will repeat, do not Google your symptoms. So I started crying, and I remember it was in the evening, and my dad called me, and he literally just wanted to like send me money, and I was crying, and I was just like saying, oh my god, bipolar, oh, so this is something that I have to live with for the rest of my life, and all that bullshit. So when I came back home, because my dad called me, I was crying, and he told me, okay, why are you crying? And he told me to come back home because I told him that I actually feel sick. So when I went back home, of course, I went to a psychiatrist. That's the first time, my first time to go to a psychiatrist. It's actually my dad who suggested for me to like literally go to, a psychiatrist because of the kind of symptoms that I told him that I had. So when I went to the psychiatrist, he told me anxiety, and I was just like, anxiety? Anxiety, I know is something that, before a presentation, or maybe I've done something bad and I'm expecting the consequences. Now you're telling me that I'm suffering from anxiety. I still did not believe it. After some time, I went to another doctor in another city. Again, I went to another, psychiatrist and all that stuff because I couldn't believe. So after going for after being diagnosed with 3 doctors, then I said, okay, maybe it's anxiety because all these three doctors can't be wrong. They don't know each other, so of course they know what they're talking about. So that's when I accepted that I had anxiety. You are struggling with anxiety, but Google is telling you have schizophrenia. It's telling you, like me, I have bipolar. It's telling you have eating disorder. Go to a health professional. If I'm talking to you, if you're watching me, I don't want to be talking to someone who has not been diagnosed by a doctor. Okay, what are we doing? Go and get diagnosed first by a doctor, by a professional, and be sure that what you are addressing is anxiety. Because sometimes anxiety symptoms can be too intense until you ask yourself, okay, am I crazy? Am I bipolar? Am I, schizophrenic? Am I suffering from something else? So get diagnosed. And if you doubt, you can get diagnosed like me with 3 other people, or even 2. Then you be sure that really this is anxiety, because all these people can't be wrong. They can't be wrong. So go get diagnosed by a professional and be sure that what you're dealing with is anxiety.